Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Will, and today I'm going to rank my favorite episodes of Avatar: The Last Airbender, just because it's a great series. If you've never seen Avatar: The Last Airbender, the story does follow Aang, who is the last Airbender and also the current incarnation of the Avatar, the master of the four elements. The series ran from 2005 to 2008 and has spawned a spin-off, a resurgence on Netflix, as well as a very bad live-action movie that we won't really talk about here. If you want to know my feelings about that, I have a video on the channel right now, which also serves as my 100th video. So please check it out and enjoy. This video is just going to be me listing my favorite episodes of the series. There were 61 episodes in total, so this is pretty much like a top 10 list. As always with all of my list / ranking videos, I do have a few guidelines, with in this case will just be one. Because the series ran for 61 episodes, a few of the episodes were actually broken up into multiple parts. So for the service of my list, my personal list here, I am going to be basing the episodes as one story each. So if it is a multi-part episode, I will be ranking that as one whole episode. So for example, Day of Black Sun, Boiling Rock, Winter Solstice, etc., etc. Those were multi-part episodes, but I will be ranking them as one entry on my list. And as always, this is a personal list, so my list will vary from you. So if you do have a different listing of episodes that you really like, comment down below and let me know those, because I'd love to hear what your list is as well. And this should go without saying, but because the series is over 10 years old and it is currently on Netflix right now, there will be spoilers since I will be talking about the episodes to a small degree. I'll try to keep it to a minimum, but just be fair warned, I may spoil a thing or two in each episode. So with that out of the way, let's jump right into the list, shall we? So beginning my list at number 10 is The Siege of the North. This was a two-part finale of season 1. This saw Aang, Katara, and Sokka team up with the Northern Water Tribe to fight back the advancing armies of the Fire Nation led by General Zhao. So this episode really brought season 1 to a climactic conclusion in my book. I was still fairly new to Avatar at this point. I actually had to go back and rewatch season 1 because I jumped in around season 2. It's a good episode. We really got to see Aang channel the spirit of the ocean, since the moon spirit was temporarily killed. And another thing about this episode was that this was the first episode where we actually got a prominent death in the series. The series up to this point had been very jovial and lighthearted with some serious moments. Obviously, when Aang discovered that the airbending nation was completely wiped out, we did see some skeletons and death and things like that, but we never saw one on screen until Princess Yue did sacrifice her life in order to resurrect the moon spirit. We also got the supposed death of General Zhao, but it was later revealed in Legend of Korra, which was the spin-off series, that he was not killed but just actually sent to the spirit world. I thought the season 1 finale was fantastic. I thought the animation looked great, but the animation in the series looked fantastic. Season 1, however, you can still tell that in season 1 they were still trying to find their footing with the animation. So the earlier episodes are a little janky, but by the time the finale hit, the animation was on point. It was a really good finale. I thought it was great. So yeah. Number 9 on my list goes to The Guru, which was the penultimate episode of season 2, primarily focused on Aang trying to learn how to master the Avatar state at this point in the series. He hasn't mastered all the elements at this point. This was also his opportunity to learn about the chakras and how to release a lot of the chakras in order to allow his energy to be fully mastered. I really like the Guru character, and I like this episode a lot because for someone who is very much into Eastern culture, for an animated series, especially one more geared towards children, to really kind of explain the concept of chakras and a lot of Buddhist elements, it was really refreshing to see a series do that, and I really enjoy watching this episode. This is also the episode where Toph, who is the earthbending prodigy as well as earthbending teacher for Aang, actually develops the ability to metal bend, which becomes prominent in the sequel series. It's a really cool sequence where she learns how to focus on the refined elements of earth within metal, and it just shows how awesome of a character Toph was, and she was such a great addition to the series as well. Number 8 goes to another season 2 episode, which is called Bitter Work. This episode is episode 9 of season 2. This is the episode after Toph joins Team Avatar. As I said in the previous entry, Toph, she is a earthbending prodigy. She's actually blind, which I think is a fantastic take on this character, because if you know anyone or if you yourself has a disability, it's empowering to see a character have such a prominent role in a series and be such a badass as well. In the episode Bitter Work, Toph is focusing on beginning Aang's earthbending training, and it forces Aang to kind of reevaluate his stance. Aang is of course a monk, and he is very nonviolent, and he's very passive and more defensive, whereas earthbending requires you to be more steadfast and extremely forward. So it was a cool way to see Aang grow as a character, and we had some really great comedy moments with Sokka when he was trapped in the earth as well. I just really enjoyed this episode. It kind of solidified Toph's role on the team to a degree, and it really helped develop Aang's character and also develop his learning of earthbending. It was a really fun episode to watch. It was kind of lighthearted. There wasn't too much except for him really trying to get past the wall, so to speak, of being able to earthbend. Season 3 has a lot of episodes on my list. I think Season 3 was a fantastic last season for the series, and they really stepped up not only the seriousness of the show, but a lot of the major events took place in Season 3. So just a fair warning, Season 3 is kind of heavy on this list. I'm going to start with one of my favorite episodes of Season 3. This is episode 9, in Sokka's Master. In Sokka's Master, when at this point in the series, with Team Avatar being what they are, you have an airbender who is also the Avatar, you have an accomplished waterbender in Katara, and you have a master earthbender in Toph. Whereas Sokka is a non-bender. So Sokka has primarily been the comedy relief as well as the tactician of the team, which is a very important role, but in the episode, you really see Sokka kind of struggle with the fact that he doesn't have anything unique about him. He's a tactician, he's very smart, and he's very funny. However, people with bending have such a unique take on their characters, and they have something special that not a lot of people do have in this world. So one cool thing about this episode being devoted to Sokka was that he was able to develop something new. He met up with Master Piandao, who was a master swordsman in the Fire Nation, because at this point the team is in the Fire Nation and they're laying low. But he decides he wants to learn from this master who's a master swordsman. This episode not only helps develop Sokka's character, as well as becoming more humble and more honest with himself about what he can and can't do, but the cool thing is that he learns how to be a swordsman. And I think that improves his status on the team and as a warrior, that he has struggled to be a warrior since the beginning of the series, since when at the beginning of the series we see him, he's a wannabe warrior because his father and the other men of their tribe left to go fight in the 100-Year War and left him in charge to protect everything. But now, at this point in the series, once he learns from Master Piandao, he really becomes a stronger warrior, but still maintains his tactician abilities and as well as his humor. So I think Sokka's Master is a really unique episode. It focuses on a character that doesn't get too much focus in the series besides a few episodes, and it also helps level him up to be as important as the other characters in the final battles that are to come in Season 3. Also, the freaking sword made out of meteor looks amazing. It's such a cool sword. I want to get a replica so bad. Alright, so number 6 on my list is For Appa's Lost Day. This is Season 2, Episode 16. Now, at this point in the series, Aang and his crew have finally made it to the great city of Ba Sing Se. However, they are missing Appa because Appa was kidnapped. A few episodes before this one, we never got to see what actually happened to Appa during that time. This episode actually gives us a little bit more information on that. It's completely about Appa and what happened from the point where he's captured and to the point where he actually makes it to Ba Sing Se. It's a pretty sad, kind of dour episode because Appa goes through some really rough times. He's captured, he escapes, he ends up being caught by some weird traveling circus, and he ends up running into the guru who I mentioned in the previous entry on this list, and who gives him a letter to take to Aang. But unfortunately, he doesn't get to give him that letter until much later once he's rescued. So I really like this episode because it does focus primarily on Appa and his struggle, and it gives a little light to that section of time when Aang and Appa were separated. We are getting into top 5 territory right now. Number 5 goes to Ember Island Players. This is the penultimate episode of season 3 before the 4-part finale of Sozin's Comet. Ember Island Players is a purely comedy / recap episode. It's a really fun escape from everything that's happened up into the series to this point. It plays into the comedic side of the series really well. The characterizations of the characters as they're watching themselves being portrayed by actors on stage is super hilarious, and it's really notable for a few things that are going to set up in the finale. It sets up Zuko as someone who is regretting everything he's done up until that point, especially his betrayal of Uncle Iroh during the Day of Black Sun. And as well as it does give us a nice callback to Aang and Katara's kiss that we see in Day of Black Sun, but really no real reconciliation of that until towards the finale. It's a really great recap of the entire series up to that point, and it's a good starting point when you get into the huge finale that's about to happen after that. So I really enjoy Ember Island Players. There are a few other kind of not so serious recap / jokey episodes throughout the series, but I think this is the best of them all. Number 4 on my list goes The Tales of Ba Sing Se. This was a season 2 episode after everyone makes it to Ba Sing Se, and it's kind of a filler episode as well, similar to Ember Island Players. However, we follow each of the characters on an individual little day or side quest throughout the big city of Ba Sing Se. My favorite and most heartbreaking moment of this episode is The Tales of Iroh. This was a short that it basically follows Iroh throughout his day. He's picking up things for a special occasion. It's the anniversary of his son Li Ten's death. It's a really touching short in this episode. It also kind of serves as a double meaning because at the end of the short it says for Mako. The actor who portrayed Iroh throughout the series, his name was Mako, and unfortunately he passed away before season 3 was actually recorded. So the person who portrays Uncle Iroh in season 3 is a different actor, but this episode was kind of to serve as a tribute for Mako, who unfortunately passed away. It's a really nice little side episode. There are a few things that inform events that are going to happen later in the season, but I just really love this episode because it kind of gives everyone their own little short story, and that Iroh tribute is just really touching. Number 3 goes to the Day of Black Sun. This is part 1 and 2. This was the epic invasion of the Fire Nation. This was first teased in season 2 in the episode titled The Library, where Team Avatar discovers that there's a solar eclipse coming, and in that solar eclipse, firebenders will lose their ability to firebend for a short amount of time. This is the day of that epic event. This is the day when the Avatar is telling the world he is alive and well, whereas he is assumed to be dead at the end of season 2. And it's a really great battle. We get a lot of returning characters who all team up to invade the Fire Nation. We get to see the fruits of Sokka's training with Master Piandao. He really takes charge in this episode. There's an epic fight between Azula and Aang, Sokka and Toph, and the Dai Li agents. It's a really cool episode, and most notably, this is the episode that finally solidifies Zuko's turn to the light side. It's Star Wars, whatever. But this is the episode where Zuko confronts the Fire Lord, tells him, I'm leaving, I'm going to free Uncle Iroh, and I'm going to join the Avatar, and we're going to stop you. It's a really cool moment. It's a really great payoff to Zuko's story arc up until this point. He has struggled with choosing what's right and wrong. He struggled with trying to please his father, but realizes that's the wrong route. He's got to do it for himself. He's got to do what's right. And it's a really epic episode. It does end with their defeat. Unfortunately, the invasion does not go through, but it just sets up for an even greater victory with the finale. Number 2, this is probably my favorite pure episode of Avatar: The Last Airbender. That is the Firebending Masters. This is episode 13 of season 3. This takes place after Zuko has joined Team Avatar. It is probably my favorite episode because it touches on the origins of firebending. Up until this point in the series, the firebenders have all been kind of viewed as the enemy, besides like a few of them, like Uncle Iroh, like Zhang Zhang from season 1. And at this point, Zuko, who had just recently joined Team Avatar, and he's still trying to find a way to atone. Because let's be honest, being portrayed as the villain for the majority of the series, and all of a sudden now being part of the team, I like how they spent the next few episodes really focusing on Zuko earning the trust of Team Avatar, becoming a full-fledged member, and proving to people that yes, he has changed. He's made a lot of mistakes, but he has changed. And the beauty thing about Zuko as a character is that I think he's had one of the best character arcs in most television. I mean, he starts off as a villain, but he's sympathetic. You understand his motivation, his drive. He makes some bad choices. There are signs of him changing, but then when it really counted, he screwed up. And now he knows. And this was the first episode on that, where it was just him and Aang trying to learn the origin of firebending, because this firebending all of a sudden became weak, and he's supposed to be Aang's teacher. And they go to, I think it's called the Temple of the Sun. I'm really sorry, I totally forgot. But he meets the Sun Warriors, who are an ancient tribe of firebenders who don't follow the rest of the Fire Nation, which is really interesting at this point, because we haven't seen a lot of Fire Nation or firebenders who weren't all up in Fire Lord Ozai's business. So it was interesting. I loved how they included the tribal music. We got that beautiful dance with them and the dragons, which is like my favorite sequence in the entire series. And overall, I think as an episode, it really progressed the two main characters, in my opinion, than any other episode has done to that point. And it was really exciting to see where they were going with it being so close to the finale. So this is one of my favorite standalone episodes, and that's why it's number 2. Oh, excuse me. Before I get to number 1, which is kind of obvious, I want to give a few honorable mentions. There's 61 episodes in all 3 seasons of Avatar The Last Airbender. They all weren't going to be on my top 10, but there are a lot of episodes that I do still love and enjoy. So this is a quick rapid fire of those episodes. Let's start with honorable mention. Honorable mention goes to The Puppet Master. This was the season 3 episode that focused with Katara and her befriending of Hama, who was a southern waterbender who was captured many, many years ago by the Fire Nation, who found a way to escape. Unfortunately, Hama developed a lot of hatred towards the Fire Nation and kind of went down a very, very dark path. And she was trying to take Katara with it, teaching Katara different ways to use her water bending, and also passing on the knowledge of blood bending, which is incredibly terrifying. And I think the ending of the episode is super not cringy, but it's very dour, because she got what she wanted in the end. Katara learned how to use blood bending and actually used it on Hama. So Katara was left kind of scarred from the event, but blood bending would become very prominent in the first season of Legend of Korra. The King of Omashu. This is a season 1 episode. This is our first introduction to King Bumi. Bumi is a fantastic character. He's hilarious. He's one of Aang's only friends who are still alive after his 100 years in the ice, and becomes very prominent in the final battle to defeat the Fire Nation as well. And as a little side note, Bumi does make a return in Legend of Korra. However, Bumi is actually the name of Aang's oldest born son, who is a non-bender in that series. So I just thought that was a very nice touch, bringing Bumi into the new series by having it be Aang's firstborn. The Desert. This is the episode after Appa is captured in season 2. We get to see a very darker side of Aang, who is dealing with the grief of losing Appa. And there's a fantastic final sequence when he finds the people who did kidnap Appa and kind of loses it a little bit and goes into the Avatar state. It does take Katara to kind of hold him, to calm him down. But I just think the episode is really interesting. We get to see a kind of a darker side of Aang a little bit through his grief, as well as we get the hilarious cactus juice scene with Sokka, who drinks the cactus juice, and a couple great blind moments from Toph, which just litter season 2 perfectly. The Crossroads of Destiny. This is the season 2 finale. Now, yes, this is not on my top 10 list. I do like the season 2 finale. However, compared to some of the other episodes, it wasn't necessarily my favorite. There were a lot of big moments in it, of course, with Zuko having the chance to do the right thing, but deciding to take the easy way out, or to take what he thought was the right thing to do. The betrayal of Uncle Iroh, Aang going into the Avatar state, but being attacked by Azula from behind, causing his 7th chakra to be locked and unable to go into the Avatar state anymore. It was a very big episode. It was the fall of Ba Sing Se. It was a very cliffhanger season 2 finale, where we didn't know what we were going to get with season 3. So it was very exciting But it's still a really good episode. Really good episode. Last but not least will be the episode of Boiling Rock. This is part 1 and 2. This was another one of those side journey episodes where Zuko actually went with Sokka this time to try to rescue his father from one of the most impenetrable prisons in the Fire Nation. There's a lot of interesting moments. We get the return of Suki because she was also captured in the episode of Appa's Lost Day by Azula. It's a great prison break. A lot of funny moments. It's a really cool episode. It's really enjoyable to see Zuko finding ways to interact with different members of Team Avatar and to kind of continue his redemption before the finale. Number 1 on my list, this is no shock to anyone, is Sozin's Comet. This is the 4-part finale. I am counting it as 1 episode. Sozin's Comet was probably one of the best finales I've seen in a very long time. It still holds up. I recently did a complete rewatch of Avatar The Last Airbender, and it's a fantastic finale. From the point of Aang struggling to try to find a way to defeat the Fire Lord without killing him, to Zuko, the reconciliation with Uncle Iroh, it still brings a tear to my eye every time I watch this scene. I'm kind of getting a little emotional right now thinking about it. It's the return of some of the great masters between Iroh, Bumi, Master P and Down, Jean. Oh my God, what's his name? I feel terrible. The waterbending master who taught them at the end of season 1. Plo Koon? No, it's not Plo Koon. His name's going to be right here. I'm sorry. But seeing those guys again, seeing the power of Sozin's Comet, amplifying all the firebenders. Of course, the 2 final fights, the big ones, Aang versus Fire Lord Ozai, and then Zuko and Katara teaming up to take down Azula. Still an awesome battle. The soundtrack that plays over Azula and Zuko's fight, it's very haunting and tragic because they are brother and sister and they are battling almost to the death at this point. I think Katara's usage of beating Azula was very clever and unique and showed her going from being a complete novice in the very first episode to being a true waterbending master. And of course the final fight between Aang and Ozai. Aang displaying all 4 element abilities, not masteries, but abilities, to the point where he was backed into a corner and that freaking sharp rock on his spine that realigned his chakra, luckily, and then put him right into the Avatar state. And that final sequence where he gathers all 4 elements around him, it's a sick image of Aang. It's so cool, I think, and in the way he stays true to himself, even though he communed with all previous avatars before him who were all saying, hey, you're gonna have to kill him. Didn't kill him. He was able to take his bending away thanks to a giant lion turtle. It's the most Avatar thing that you could think of. It's a fantastic finale, and it ends on the kiss everyone was waiting for between Aang and Katara. So it was a really great finale to a fantastic, glorious series of television. I so love this series. I can watch it so many times and not get sick and tired of it. So that is my top 10 favorite episodes of Avatar. Do you agree with my list or do you have a different 10? Comment down below. Let me know. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you, as always, for watching this and all of my videos. I've got everything at the end of the video. So until next time, I'll catch you later. Hey, thanks for watching this video. If you did like this video, why not give me a thumbs up and share it with your friends? You can subscribe to the channel by clicking on my gorgeous little face right over there. You can follow me on all the various social media platforms right below. And last but certainly not least, if you've got a few extra minutes, why not check out one of the lovely videos floating right over here. Later.